Hello everybody, and welcome to another special video from the AFTN crew. We're turning our attentions to Canada, reaching the octopus, the octagon. They're so close. The Qatar. Still a long road ahead, but yes, Canada have got past Haiti. They've made the final phase of CONCACAF qualifying. We're going to take a little bit of a look at that in this video. It's also going to be used in the podcast, but there's going to be some extra bits in this video that you won't find in the podcast. But you can listen to this and all our other stuff in episode 460 of the AFTN Soccer Show. That is out on the 20th of June. I'm Michael McCall.
I'm Steve Pander.
And I'm Zachary Adam Eisenheimer.
And we are cock-a-hoop because, it's been a long road so far. There's a long road still to come. I covered a lot of this, and my video is going to freeze occasionally as well, so we've been having some technical issues with that. But I covered a lot of this in an extra podcast that I've brought out. If you're not a subscriber to that, though, definitely get subscribing, because you can do it for $3 a month, $30 for the year. And we've got lots of fun stuff on that. But in short, it was what I was expecting. I predicted a 3 or a 4 goal victory for them. I wasn't really worried at any time, even though Haiti put in a great performance to start with. And it was a performance that has been seen around the world. Millions and millions of people watching at least the first goal, and not for all the best reasons either.
It was scored by a Canadian, though.
It was. And I felt really sorry for him. And in all seriousness, we're joking about it. Others have joked about it. There's been so many gags made online. I was genuinely concerned for his mental health, because that's a lot to throw on the young shoulders of an inexperienced guy, just having all that pressure suddenly heaped on you for making a mistake that possibly cost your country a place in the last round of World Cup qualifying. I don't think it would have made too much difference anyway. He was a guy that was called in at the last minute because Placide couldn't make it due to visa issues that prevented 3 or 4 of the Haiti players from taking part in the match. There was accusations of match fixing, which you just had to look at his performance in the first half to know that wasn't the case.
I mean, the match fixing allegation is kind of crazy to me, because the goal of match fixing is to influence the game in such a way so as not to go noticed. And what happened on that play was something noticed by everyone, draws so much attention that it's the opposite of what you're trying to do in fixing a match.
And he couldn't replicate scoring a goal like that either, because there's no way, the way it went through his wickets, its plant foot is what knocked it into the net, not even the swing of the other foot. It was a near perfect own goal.
Probably couldn't do it again if he tried, but
no.
I mean, I genuinely felt sorry for him, and I don't think it would have made a great deal of difference in the end. But 3-0 on the night, 4-0 in aggregate. Canada is through to the octagonal. The 14 games await them on the quest for Qatar, possibly 16, depending where they finish in the group. We'll get into that in a sec. As I said, I've given some of my thoughts on it in one of the extra podcasts. Let's start with you, Zach. What did you make of the overall performance and just getting to this stage of the tournament for the first time? The last time they played in a game in this round was 1997. Things didn't go great then. Can it be better this time round?
Yeah, I think they will go better this time around. But I'm really, really happy. I think we saw in the second leg the performance, the goals, the result that I was hoping for in the first leg, and ultimately, this was debatably comfortable for Canada, which I think it needs to be. And not so much so that they get comfortable as they move into this next round, because you're right. This is going to be a battle. It's going to be a war. The octopus, the octagon, whatever you want to call it. These games, it's going to be so intense and going to be it's going to require so much, especially when they're playing like 2 or 3 games. I think there's sometimes where they're playing 3 games in a quick succession or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
couple
going to
of
be
times.
it's going to be so massive, and hopefully by then supporters will be allowed to go and we can go in person and get behind Canada and spur them on to victory. But no, I don't know, I'm really, really excited. I thought the performance was good. Kudos to John Herdman and the coaching staff for, I think, preparing the players in the right way in the midst of unique circumstances. And just so happy and so thankful for this opportunity to return to the final round of World Cup qualifying in CONCACAF, and this time hopefully to get over that hurdle and to actually make it to the World Cup finals.
What about yourself, Steve? How are you feeling watching it? How are you feeling after it?
Nervous as always, watching it. Even once they got that, the first goal was this a lot of relief. The second goal they scored, that was basically, then everything was, you knew everything was done and dusted. It was nice to see a third goal in going as well, just to for the celebration and everything, and the way the third goal went in, just off the post, and he was able, Junior Hoilett was able to clean it up. It was fantastic. The moment I really enjoyed, though, just in a sentimental point of view, was afterwards, when they showed them in the group and everything, and it was Million Borjan kind of leading the charge, a guy who chose Canada over other options. Like, obviously now people are going to say, oh no, there was no really other options. He was always going to choose Canada. But just for the fact that even on paper, on the surface, that he chose Canada, and the way he was so passionate about it, especially in the, like, you could be passionate during the game and passionate once you win and everything, but it's still carried over into that huddle, and that's something we don't always see. We don't see that passion past the game, and so to see that was really entertaining and really, really fun to watch.
Does it make me a horrible future Canadian that when it was 1-0 to Canada, part of me wanted Haiti to score just to see the chaos?
Cut his feed, Steve.
No, I don't think so. But the thing is like, while you do live in Canada, you don't have like a direct connection and everything like that. So I can understand that the chaotic side of you would want to see that.
I wanted Canada to win. I'll just clarify before they do deport me. But I just thought it'll be entertaining.
Yeah,
it was a bit too comfortable.
I was okay with it. Like I said, I wanted to see 3 to 4 goals in Haiti, and so it could be just a celebration in that second leg.
Yeah, Michael, we've experienced enough moments that have been uncomfortable in our footballing journey in this country that it's nice. It is a nice change of pace. In the same way that it's nice to have like multiple options, in attacking positions, like we've never experienced ever before.
Yeah.
So I understand your sentiment, but I think the majority of people were fine with how things went.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So that victory, as well as all the victories before it, has taken them into the third round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying for 2022. The Octagonal is what it's called. It used to be the Hex, but they've expanded it because of all the COVID things. I like that it's 8 teams, actually. I think it makes it a lot better. So Canada's in with the big guns, the US and Mexico. Costa Rica's in there. Honduras is in there. Panama's in there. El Salvador's in there. Jamaica's in there, off their own accord. And it's setting up a battle. There's some great games ahead. I mean, you look at those teams, and if you look at the ELO rankings as opposed to FIFA rankings, Canada's currently ranked 3rd in CONCACAF. The top 3 teams qualify automatically for Qatar. The 4th team is in a playoff to try and get that next spot. But you look at those teams, there's some very winnable games in there. Like Mexico and the US, obviously clear favourites. Canada's shown they can beat the US on home soil. We did that very recently. I don't think there's anything to be afraid of. We've got a great shot at doing this.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams in CONCACAF, especially the teams that have gone into the World Cup before, that are kind of in a dip in their program right now. They're not as strong as they are normally used to being. One of the biggest examples is probably Honduras, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me if you think that's wrong, but I think Honduras is not at what their current standards are. Even Panama is kind of cycling through a new group of players, and they might end up being they work their way into the World Cup. But right now, they're kind of just finding their own way. So those are the kind of teams that I think they have a chance. Obviously, teams like El Salvador and Jamaica, I think they are capable of beating them as well. And then you got a team like Costa Rica. I'm not familiar with Costa Rica. I haven't seen very many of their results in the past, but they can definitely win at home against a Costa Rican team. Maybe not in Costa Rica, but definitely at home. So they could split those two games for sure.
I mean,
I have high hopes for these 14 games, Michael. I think the CONCACAF Nations League group stage matches that Canada was in when they played the US and beat the US for the first time in a long time. That 2-0 win at BMO Field in Toronto was really encouraging. And even though the return match was I think a 4-1 loss in Florida, I was still really encouraged by that because it showed that we can take points in a setting like this. And I think Canada can take points from the States, and Canada, I think, has the potential to cause a hard time for Mexico. And Canada's going to be playing Mexico right in one of the games where Mexico is not allowed to have fans, if I'm correct, right? So that's going to also be another bonus, another positive thing for them. So, ultimately, you need to win your home games and then get some draws and wins on the road. And that's kind of the normal thing for any kind of league you're in or any kind of format like this that you're in. And I know I'm really excited because the other thing that makes me excited is not just the plethora of attacking options we have, but it seems like there's some encouraging signs at center back. And even fullback, I guess you could say as well. I think the brief emergence of Scott Kennedy at center back is really exciting for me and encouraging.
He's looked excellent in those outings that he's had. Very, very impressed by him.
Stephen Vittoria, Danielle Henry, and I'm forgetting the other guy's name, Ricardo
Ferreira.
Yeah. Like these are all options that I think are really exciting and really encouraging at center back, which has been the biggest concern for the last few years.
And the thing is obviously the previous games they were expected to have clean sheets, but the fact that they got 2 clean sheets against Haiti is an encouraging sign. Haiti is a team that's capable of scoring goals. They've done it in the past. So keeping clean sheets in Haiti, shutting them out in both games, that is an encouraging sign going forward. Because like we said before, the back line is considered the weakness only because we're the midfield and the attacking side are so strong now that we normally don't expect that. So this might be the typical defending that we normally have, but the forward line and everything else has gone so far above that we don't expect it.
I'm so confident. I've got the World Cup stuff put up behind me now. Let's have a look at the path ahead for Canada. So there's 3 games in September. There's 3 games in October. There's 2 in November. There's 3 January into February. And then there's 3 in March to round things off. So far, we don't know where these games are going to get played. We'll talk about that in a sec. But September, Canada start off at home to Honduras, then they're away to the US, then they are back at home to El Salvador. Surely, if you're looking at qualifying for Qatar, 6 points minimum has to get taken from those 3 games.
That's a vital. If they don't come out with 6 points, that while it's not over, it would put a major dent in their qualifying hopes.
7 would be the dream, Zach. But I mean,
Yeah.
Honduras and El Salvador on home soil, hopefully literally on home soil. That's got to be what you're looking at.
I think you meant 9 is the dream, but yeah,
9 is the dream.
I think
Yeah,
9 is the dream. 6 is the minimum.
those games. But we'll start the chat about where games should be played now. Now, John Herdman talked about he's wanting to play across Canada, take this team across Canada to let people see it. Now, it's not just as easy as that, because folk are like, oh, play this game in Yellowknife, play this game in Nunavut, which is obviously not going to happen. But you're looking at the likes of, like, say, Nova Scotia or PEI or something. But it's not just having a stadium that can host these games. You've got to have the training facilities. You've got to have the infrastructure, the television capabilities, all that stuff that goes with it. It isn't just a simple case of saying, oh, let's play this one here, this one there. Oh, the island, we're meant to have some games. Let's take some of the games over to the island.
No,
It's got to be realistic. And playing in bitter cold conditions,
Yeah.
it also goes against the Canadian guys.
Yeah, because they're not 100% used to that, especially all of them. Some of them play in Spain, Portugal.
Yeah,
and
nobody wants to be playing in like minus temperatures of games of football, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, that was back in the old days. I think the last game we were qualifying in '86 was in Newfoundland, and I think it was Honduras. I can't remember who they were playing, but they were basically in ball caps. I mean, not ball caps, toques and everything, and winter jackets before they got on the pitch. But the thing is about especially the first 3 games, the fact you're in Canada, you go to the US, Canada, the 2 Canadian locations for that at least needs to be correlate really close to wherever the US decides to play their game against Canada. So if it's in the East Coast, you got to play those 2 games on the East Coast. If it's in the West Coast, you got to play those 2 games West Coast. You got to have some kind of quick connection because it's 2nd, 5th, and 8th. Those are the dates currently listed. So that's not very much a travel time. You need to be close by. I'm willing, if they put it in the East Coast, I'm willing to say play both games in Toronto or play one Toronto, one in Montreal. That's fine with me.
I'd play them both at BMO in Toronto, I've got to say.
Yeah.
I think you need to play them both in the same city, Steve, with that quick turnaround.
Yeah.
But here's the key, and we've talked about this with many issues in the past when it comes to football clubs and football organizations. I think the CSA, maybe it's John Herdman who might be the best voice for this. There just needs to be really good communication about this. As long as they communicate what they're doing and why they're doing it, and maybe even how they came to those decisions, I think people will be able to understand. If all games needed to be in the Yukon, okay, I think people would get their heads around that, right? But if all the games need to be in Toronto or Montreal or Vancouver or Edmonton or Langford, whatever, people just need to know what's happening and why it's happening. So I really, really hope the CSA will get out in front of this as quickly as they're able to and communicate what's going on. I've heard a few people talk about, the debate that obviously sparked right away that on Tuesday evening with, oh yeah, like you said, Michael, the game should be played here, or all of them should be in Newfoundland, and or they all should be in cold temperatures or whatever. That debate is really old. Like, for someone who's been following this for a long time, some of these arguments and some of these personal preferences and whatever, they're old and insignificant to me. What needs to happen is what the people making the decisions and ultimately the players and the coaches, what they think would be help them, put them in the best place to qualify. And as long as they make those decisions and they communicate it to people, I think everyone else in the country should get on board with that, whatever that looks like, whatever that means for your personal travel plans. Because here's the thing, like Steve said, where we play can have an impact on how we do. No. Whether it's travel, whether it's temperature, whether it's proximity to other matches, whatever it is. And we just can't put any barriers to points and to results. We're so close.
To make it easier for the European players to come in.
Yeah,
to make it
exactly.
easier for them for that travel.
As well.
If they said every game's in Montreal because it's a shorter flight, I can live with that. That's fine. But they just need to communicate.
I mean, the three of us would love every game at BC Place. Speak to folk in a Toronto podcast, they'd love every game at BMO Field. It's obvious. The thing I hate, and it comes up every couple of years, it's this pissing contest between Canadian fans of, oh no, we're more of a soccer city, we should be having it. Oh, we've got a bigger stadium, we can cram everyone in. And that's not always a good thing. Like the Mexico game, if you've got a 60,000 game against Mexico at BC Place, a lot of Mexican fans in there. A 20,000 capacity venue, not as many Mexican fans. So it's things like that as well.
But to be fair about that Mexico game, and not to get into the tribal or regionalism in the country, like I think the support and obviously I'm extremely invested and biased when it comes to this, but the support for that game from Canadians, both practically and experientially in the stadium, outside the stadium and in the stadium, was on a level to me that was able to compete with the support that Mexico received, the numbers, the volume, all those kinds of things. So again,
they won the streakers battle there.
Sure, and that I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But you know what I mean? Like I think
totally.
Canada, both in people coming to the stadium wearing their colors, singing, chanting, tifo, march to the match, all those kind of pre-game activities, the week leading up. I think those things were all really, really positive for that experience. And I think in the stadium, I'm talking to some of the players as well, I think that was appreciated. Now, again, that doesn't mean that I think every game should be a BC Place, because it's arguably one of the poorer surfaces in the country. But yeah, so I don't think saying that because there's going to be there's 50,000 seats and 25 or 20 of them are going to be your opponent's supporters doesn't negate BC Place in my opinion, or anywhere, any other stadium either.
I mean, I am all for tribalism in football, regionalism in football. I love that. That is basically what the UK football scene has been built on over the years. When it comes to the national team, though, that goes out the window. It's like with the national team, you all pull together for the greater good. And if we work out where the best thing for all aspects of each game is, that's the thing. October's games, they're away to Mexico, away to Jamaica, home to Panama. So in terms of that, you've got to look at, okay, so if you're in Jamaica, if they're not doing charter, which I think they might still be by that time, I mean, who knows?
I hope they were doing charter.
I would hope they would be. I mean, they can fly from Jamaica to anywhere, but realistically, you're probably looking at an East Coast thing for that as well. Yeah. October, that could maybe be Montreal. You give that one to Montreal. I don't know how many Panamanians there are in Montreal. November's games, at home to Costa Rica, at home to Mexico. Those are two huge games. They have to be in the same venue.
Yep.
BC Place makes sense because it's got the roof. If the players said, no, it's right in our season, we'd rather have shorter travel, you go with them, you give it to BMO. You've got to look at the weather conditions, though, as well, and see what's best.
Yeah, but you also got the training facility here, too. So that gives them an advantage there for those two games.
Michael, just to your point about the tribalism, some of my fondest memories of supporting Canada have been centered around connecting with club supporters from other cities in the country and being united in supporting Canada. I've had some great times in Toronto, great times in Edmonton, amazing times in Montreal. The stories of marches to the match and then supporting in the stadium, just like so memorable and great to connect with people who you've been on the opposite side of. Yeah. And yet you come together with them, even though there still is some of that club tension, you can come together and support Canada together. It's
like Scotland, like the Tartan Army come together. Even Celtic and Rangers fans come together to cheer on the team together. Hibs and Hearts fans do it. Yes, you might piss in the guy's pocket when he's not looking in front of you at the game, but that's just part and parcel of it. It's come to be expected. But yeah, you have to just go for the greater good. The January game is 27th of January away to Honduras, 30th of January at home to the US, and then the 2nd of January away to El Salvador. Again, if you're chartering, it puts BC Place in the equation. If not, that might be tricky. But then where else do you play a home game in Canada in January? I think that one is a dead cert for BC Place.
That could be, yeah, that would be. That's probably the hardest. I think of all the travels, that's probably the hardest. Where you have to go. Yeah. You start in Honduras, come all the way to Canada, then back to El Salvador, or the opposite, whichever.
I don't know, because the last three as well is Costa Rica away, Jamaica at home, Panama away.
Yeah, that's tough too.
That's tough as well. It's a very tough ending. It kind of shows you how important it is to get some points on the board early in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting. It's nervous. I've heard some people put rumours out, and it's all just rumours just now. I spoke to somebody at the CSA during the week that said, we're still looking at everything. Everything's on the table. We have to look at what's best for all aspects. Travel, logistics, training, just everything to give Canada the best advantage, but to make the players feel as comfortable as they are possible. One of the rumours going about was it's only going to be the cities that's going to be hosting World Cup games. I can see why they would maybe want to do that. I think it would be stupid to rule out a big venue like BC Place to do that, especially for a game that's going to be in January. Can't play that in Edmonton. We can, but I don't think the Canadian players would like it either. Same with playing in Montreal or Toronto. So that would be stupid just to look at it that way. But I mean, that is the path ahead. It's a tough path ahead. When you break down the last 6 fixtures, it's tough. But if this team is as good as we say it is, if it is the golden generation, they have to overcome this. These are the games they have to be tested in. These are the games they have to win. And this is what they need to do to get us to a World Cup again.
For sure, yeah, and it will be a test for them. I know you keep saying golden generation. I still think it's a little bit premature to call it golden generation because they are. Yeah, it's the beginning of potentially the golden generation. But definitely a good start, whether it's to this qualifying tournament or to their generation, as you pronounce it. I think it's important, and so. Whether you want to say these first 6 games or 3 games are important or the whole qualifying is important, I think 100%. They need to be able to get through this. Like, obviously, normally you're not having 3 qualifying games in a week. That's not a normal thing. But everybody's got to do it. It's just not Canada. Every other country has to do it.
Not a normal world anymore.
No, it isn't.
The golden generation might be a premature tag, Steve. You're right. But, I mean, the footballing landscape and specifically with the national teams has been so frozen and so cold for so long that when it heats up this way, it's hard not to leap to extremes like that. All I know is it's an exciting time, and I'm excited to watch it and hopefully go and support at it. And I mean, obviously 2026 is there in the background. We know that that's coming to the country and going to be exciting, but there's something about earning your spot in a tournament. And
right.
Yes.
This would, as much as hosting will have an impact in the country, this will have a different kind of impact. And that's what I think we all long for.
If people can get to see it, of course, because all the games right now are scheduled to be on One Soccer. I still hope they can kind of come up with a deal, even not to show the whole game, but to show highlights later that day, the next day, on something like CBC. So it's a free-to-air thing, just so that people can see this golden generation and just know what an exciting team this is. You have to get that team out there onto screens. That was something I was hoping to ask Peter Montopoli, who was on the call after the Haiti game. he came on, did an introduction and said, I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone's got about where games might be, everything like that. And I was like, superb. And then nobody asked him a question, and they didn't get round to me to ask my question. Really pissed off at that, because that was our chance to ask so many things to him, and it didn't happen. But hopefully somewhere down the road. There's a big tournament coming up that can help Canada prepare for these World Cup qualifiers, of course. The Gold Cup is getting underway in the US in July. The preliminary 60-man roster, which is a bit excessive.
Michael, I know you're not eligible because you're not Canadian, but Steve, did you get the call? Because I thought
No, I didn't get the call.
Okay.
I thought everyone was on there.
I think there's no point of going over who was on there because everybody was. We can mention the two players that weren't. That was Sam Adekugbe and Milan Borjan. Those were the two players that were not on the Gold Cup preliminary roster.
Which is good for them because they're going to be in preseason or beginning of their season, right?
Sam's just got a new club, yeah.
To Turkey. I think Borjan's still looking for a club, if I'm not mistaken. I think he didn't have a club at this point. Maybe it's changed, or maybe he was in the process of final. I thought maybe
Junior Hoylett was looking for a club.
Oh yeah,
Junior was looking for a club, but I think Borjan was mentioned as being a free agent. I read that somewhere. Maybe he still hasn't signed a contract with Belgrade yet. I'm not sure.
But I mean, this is a tournament. Do you go with the strongest that you can get, or do you mix and match? Is it like AstraZeneca and Pfizer?
I really am torn on this one because I've heard the US was going for mostly MLS side. So
which might be good for the Whitecaps because we might actually have weakened opposition.
Yeah, but the thing is, the fact that the US might be a little bit weaker, now all of a sudden I want to go with a stronger club.
Yes.
Because just for a chance to win.
Possibly win the whole thing.
Yeah, not win the whole thing, but at least beat the US or potentially beat them in one of the games. But so I'm kind of torn. I really was looking for like a Group B team, like some of the players from the qualifying games that didn't play that much, and then add some other players in there. That's what I was looking for, but I'm kind of torn right now to see which way to go for them.
10 Whitecaps on that 60-man roster, Zach, and another Whitecap, Javane Brown, is on the Jamaican roster. So like a sixth of the roster is basically Whitecaps related, but 60-man rosters just seems ridiculous. I don't understand this at all.
Is that just like a COVID thing? Because I know before they had to submit like a 30-ish man roster. I
honestly don't know. It's baffling to me. I don't know if you can then, if someone's named on this, you can then maybe call on them if you need to get call-ups or something. Or
because I know
look at Venezuela at Copa America. And
I don't know the protocols at the Copa America, but I know the Euro. I've heard that they have like a group of players who are in a bubble, who are waiting in case players get lost to COVID or whatever. And I don't know the parameters or how long you can draw on that pool in the tournament or whatever. But it's got to be related to that because the 60 feels kind of more than I ever remember. Or maybe it's a new thing. They just want everyone to feel appreciated, and so they bump the number up to 60.
Like give everyone a hug.
Sam Adekugbe signed for the team that I believe finished sixth in the Turkish league last year. Milan Borjan's contract at Red Star goes until 2023. So
that's it. Okay, maybe I misread it.
He's still good to go there.
It could have been in FIFA. It could have been in FIFA 21 where he was.
Yeah, there you go. He's looking to extend his. He's got 3 Serbian titles there, so I think he's looking to get a few more. But
Junior Hoylett is looking for a club. You're right there. One thing I want to just mention really quickly. It's funny how before he didn't want to join the Canadian side because he was looking to help his club side, like his club career. And now they were mentioning that he wants to play more because he wants to have the international side to help get his club career going.
Yeah, it's interesting how that dynamic
shifts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's round this bit off. Just stick our heads on the line. Are Canada going to qualify for Qatar? And if so, is it going to be as a top 3 team or are they going to get through in a multi-layered playoff?
I was hoping you were going to ask, are they going to qualify for the Gold Cup? And I would say yes, they are going to qualify for the Gold. But for the World Cup, I would say I find it very difficult to see them finish in the top three, but I can definitely see them being in fourth place and playing an extra couple games.
I agree as well. And then it's just who you play, who's in form, who does it on the day.
My heart says yes, and my head is actually saying yes, that they can come top three. Will they do that? I don't know, but I think there's a legitimate case to be made for them to be in the top three in CONCACAF at this moment.
Yeah, I think that if they're capable of being fourth, they're definitely capable of being a third. I'm not saying they're not, but I'm just saying it's going to be like if I were to put money on it right now, I'd say fourth is the best bet.
Well, let's see how it all plays out. We've got a lot to look forward to this year for the Canadian national team. The Gold Cup is next. I'm sure we'll do some more fun videos during the Gold Cup as well. But thanks for watching this. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments. Let us know how you think Canada's going to do at the Gold Cup, how you think they're going to do in World Cup qualifying, and where you think some of the games should play. Just before we go, let everyone know where they can find you online. Let's start with you, Steve.
You can find me on Twitter at WhiteCapsPete.
For me, it's at Zachary M on Twitter.
I'm Michael McCall. You can find me on Twitter at AFTN Canada. Read our stuff away from the numbers, aftn.ca. Please subscribe to this channel if you're watching this video and you're not a subscriber. Turn on notifications so you know when we've got new videos up or when we go live. And yeah, looking forward to what's in store for Canada. Let's get it done, boys. Till next time, thanks for watching. And allez la rouge!